Hello, my name is Brittany D. I am a psychic medium and spiritual teacher. My divine purpose is to assist in the expansion of the collective consciousness and to help you become more connected with the divine. This is a space to remember all that you truly are and ignite the possibilities of your highest potential. Hello, 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 and thank you so much for joining me today in this present now moment. I am so excited to share with you all my guest that I have on the podcast this week. Her name is Sisi. She is an intuitive healer and creatrix with Kundalini Rising and one of my very dear friends. I am so grateful to have this woman in my life, and I'm so grateful to have her here on the show. So today we're going to talk a little bit about law of attraction, and Sisi knows quite a bit about I don't want to say it incorrectly, the mystery school.
The modern mystery school.
Okay.
Yeah.
And hermetics. And she's introduced me to a lot of different teachings that I would love for her to share with all of us, with all of my listeners, to just help us. We're here to expand our consciousness, right? So help us out here, girl.
Yes. I'm so excited to speak about this because, on my journey, we all have pretty much the same, we all start at the same spot, We all find the new age spirituality stuff, law of attraction, that's the biggest one. It's like what you put out.
The secret.
Yeah, the secret, Abraham Hicks, like I found it all, but it's just like, as I got into it more and just started thinking and things started more coming to me, and I was just like, wait, this isn't just it. There's more. And I think what happened is during that time period when all that information came out, something happened and we got stuck there as a collective. But now since that
makes so much sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Since we're evolving at a rapid pace now, we all are just like, there has to be more. There has to be more. We need to find that. So,
well, and that's just life too, right? Like you discover something and then you keep peeling the onion layers back. You're like, whoa, there's more to this. There's way more to this. Holy shit, this is way deeper than I thought. You just keep diving and diving. But I mean, the secret, like, definitely not hating on anyone that, is into the secret or, Abraham
definitely not.
Yeah, it's just like, cause the secret majorly opened doors for me, like big time. I remember just the transformation I went through when I sat down. I was obsessed with it. I watched the whole documentary movie thing, and then I got the little daily, the secret tab things, and I would look at their little things every day and like write notes and did a lot of the practices, which helped me a lot. But as you, like you said, go deeper into it, you realize there are so many more layers. This is so much more complex, this attraction thing and manifesting and, aligning. Alignment is so much more.
Yes. And so that's where I really kind of got caught up. I was just like, okay, wait, what my understanding was, it's like, with law of attraction, we think, okay, I need to be high vibe. Like I need to focus on the high vibe. I just need to be high vibe, love and light, but reality, that is absolutely not it. And I crashed and burned so bad. Like since I was trying so hard to be that positive, just high vibrational so I could manifest what I wanted, like I was holding in so much shit. And when I say I exploded. It was ugly, but it was definitely much needed.
It just comes pouring out.
It just all came out completely. Well. But then from that, I came out of it. I was just like, yeah, whatever. Okay, I'm okay now. Everyone can breathe. But I came out of it and I was just like, okay, so I literally sat and I asked, I was like, all right, I am open to not being resistant anymore. I am open to following the path that will get me these answers that I'm clearly like my soul is yearning for. Like this feeling, I can't ignore it anymore. I need this information wherever it comes from. And so that's where I found my guide and friend, mentor, Angela Hurd Greer, and she introduced me to the Modern Mystery School, which is just a fancy thing for It's just a fancy, like, pretty much I just study hermetics. And which makes this lineage that I'm in is the lineage of King Solomon, and it's about 3,000 to 8,000 years old. You know, we can track it 3,000 years back, but, you know, if you go farther back, you know.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. It's going to be a lot older. So that part just really sold me. And, you know, intuitively, I was just like, yes. And then, like, logically, I was just even more like, yes. You know, I was like, it's old. It feels great. Like, let me into it. And also, like, the geek in me, I learned that there are actually 7 mystery schools, and they are closed, meaning you have to be invited in. No one really knows about them. There's really not a lot of information out there. One that everyone has maybe heard of is the Golden Dawn, and that is in Britain. But like I said, you can't just go up to those doors and be like, hey, I want to study, you know? But like, no, like they have to seek you out, and they seek you out on the astral plane, you know? When we're all connected into, like, collectively in the astral realm. So if you are sensitive enough, or you train, you know, your senses enough, you can
access
and seek people. And whenever there's a high vibe, but not high vibe, but when there's a person who's really talented in the psychic realm, like their psychic abilities are just off the charts, you can find them, you can go see where they're at, talk to them, whatever. And so that's where the founder of the Modern Mystery School, he was actually found that way. And when he was younger, he was told, like, you know, you're going to work with us. And then eventually down his path, not to get into it, but down his path, he was led. He's like, you need to open up an open school for the Western world. And so that's where the Modern Mystery School came from. It's pretty much just a school where anyone can come in, no matter where you are on your journey, no matter if you really believe this or not, even if you have to, like, literally have a friend drag you in. I have no idea why you're there. You can come in and you can just learn. And of course, the learning style, I love it. It's handed down initiations. So, which means that you can't just pick up a book. You have to literally do the work. So first level initiation, that's the one I've received. And hopefully I'm hoping this year is COVID kind of got in the way, but hoping this year to get my second initiation. So I'm an adept, meaning not bottom of the barrel, but, you know, just starting out. I'm a little baby. And it was not a whole ordeal, but it was just, I can't even put into words how, like, the format is like a normal class or whatever, but at the end there is a literal initiation. And I've never been through anything like that before in my life. It was beautiful. I just can't put into words. And from that point on, my reality changed so much. It changed literally everything.
You can feel it. Like, I can feel it.
I just wish I could, like, get the words, but, like, there's just so much love that I have, and I feel so grateful to have stumbled upon that. And not only that, I'm so grateful for myself for being like, I'm going to do it. I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. I don't know how I'm going to afford this. You know, I just don't know. And I did it. And it's literally made me the person I am today.
That's how it goes, man.
That's how it goes.
You just gotta follow the calling. I don't know how I'm gonna do this. I don't know how I'm gonna afford it. I don't know how I'm gonna get this gift, but I'm doing this because it's what my soul wants. You know?
Exactly. And it just put so much into perspective to me, and it gave me those answers I was looking for, especially towards manifesting and the law of attraction. And especially with that, everyone in Hermetics, there are 8 principles. I don't know them by heart, but for the gist of things, there are 8 principles to manifesting. So
real quick, so just so I'm understanding this correctly, Hermetics is what's taught in the Modern Mystery School.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's old, it's been around.
Part of the reason why I was excited that today was the day that I was going to have you on is because I started this new book this morning, and it's all about alchemy. And literally, like, the first chapter was all about how, like, this is all, like, what you're going to be learning like, through this book is going to be all about Hermetics. And like, they were talking about how we need to, like, give all of the credit. Like, they were talking about how tarot readers and psychics and all of that need to give all the credit to, like, ancient people that really, like, we're living their work now. Like, we are living so much work that they put in. And there's people who, and I'm not trying to hate on anybody, but there's people that just pick up a tarot deck and start a whole career on reading tarot and have no idea the history of what it went in for them to be able to do what they do right now, you know?
Yeah. And I think collectively we're at a point where, and it's not shitting on anyone, but we're at a point where you're not going to be able to do that anymore.
Yes.
You are not going to be able to just pick something up like tarot and just go on YouTube and start doing readings. Mm-hmm. You are not going to be able to do that. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can, but it is going to backfire on you so bad because we are at a point where we need purity. The people who are in charge, not in charge, but the ones who are leading us, the ones who are going to really hold the vibration for us to keep rising, the ones who are really going to be assisting others in the collective are going to be the ones who are doing the work.
Yes.
And
it's already since since like the very end, basically since the Great Conjunction, it has been so clear the people that actually do the work and the people that just spit a whole lot of game, that just talk a whole lot about spiritual truths and, you know, being psychic and all these things. And it's like the veil is just slowly being pulled up and they're going to be standing there naked by the end of 2021. Like, oh shit, the energy showed me. Like, it's not even like anyone is calling them out. It's not even like, it's just naturally you are seeing who are the people that actually put in the work, the inner work, that do their, you know, like, and the research and the time and like that are actually, like you said, leaders are actually leading this new earth, like that aren't just talking a bunch of shit, like the people that really are the real deal.
Exactly. And that is so important. If nothing grinds my gears the most, it really, like, it hurts me, is whenever I see people who are looking for someone to just kind of guide them along the way. Yeah. And they end up getting like trapped into something. And there's like, and free will is a beautiful thing, but it's just like, I wish I could like just be like, no, you know, like, no. But
the eight laws of hermetics.
Yes. The 8 law of hermetics.
Sorry, we went on a little bit.
That's a whole nother thing. But I guess, 8 laws of hermetics. So, but I guess backtrack real quick, but kind of like what we were talking to, it can lead into that because anyone can take these spiritual things, you know, that we talk about, but it's really the ones who put into practice. And so to actually manifest, to really, truly manifest, you are actually going to have to not just read a book, but you're going to have to put those things into experience. You're going to actually have to like shift. You're going to actually have to do the life. Yeah. You know? And so that's why.
Or not even just read a book. You know, do a course or do a mastermind or whatever it may be. Like, yeah. And this is coming from someone that teaches these things and holds these things. Like that's not, I can teach you all day long, but if you're not actually doing the work on your end, if you're not practicing these things in your life, it's not like I just come in and you know, wave a magic fairy wand in your life. I mean, I do a little bit just because my energy, you know, but it's not like everything is going to change for the rest of your life if you don't take the time to actually integrate these practices into your life and do them on a regular basis. Like, and I mean like regular as in like every moment.
Exactly. Like really becoming, in hermetics, it's called becoming the middle pillar. So you can call it what you want. Light, dark, shadow, light, or whatever. But the point is you're supposed to be in the middle. One side is something, other side is something else. But really all it is just energy. So it's not even truly dualism. It just is, you know, we are all of it. But the point is, you can know that you are all of it, but at the same time, you have to do what is in your highest good. What your intuition, highest self, whatever you want to call it, is saying, this is for you. This is what you need to do for yourself. This is how you're going to succeed on your path. This is how you're going to fulfill your mission. And that is what the 8 principles are asking. And man, let me tell you, I really wish I knew what those 8 principles were on the top of my head, but just for the gist of things,
I don't know them all. I know one of them is like how the pendulum swing, like, you know, like the really high if you're on a really super high, then it's just naturally you're going to have that opposite. That's super low point. And, you know, it's just the natural flow of life.
Pretty much in summary for the 8 principles, what the 8 principles are pretty much getting at is balance. Mm-hmm. And it's all a balance of things. To truly seep into stillness, we have to have balance. And it's within balance we're able to get into that stillness. And through that stillness is how we are able to shift and observe what needs to be shifted or what we need more of or what we need to let go of. Because, you know, manifesting isn't, when we say letting go, like, you know, surrendering, releasing, sometimes we need to bring something more in. It's not always just letting something go. But, you know, you do have to let some things go to bring in sometimes.
Right, the space, yeah.
But I think a really key point I would like to touch on is it's not just your vibration, because our vibration shifts so much, so quickly. It is really hard to just sit and carry on a high, I put quotations on that, high vibration 24/7, 365. That's not what we're here for. So something that threw me off with law of attraction was it's just not practical to be high vibe, you know, and continually sitting and visualizing what I want to come in. It's just like, is not why we're here. We're here to experience the entire spectrum of emotion, the entire spectrum of what's being human. We're really trying to find balance in masculine and feminine. And that is actually one of the principles is gender. It's not talking about, you know, male or female. It's just the energy, masculine and feminine. And those are we need that to be together, intertwined to really be that unified consciousness. And once we are into that and that balance, that's when we can start manifesting. And to get into that balance, you have to do your work. And it really, honestly, truly comes down to like doing the work. Like you can know all these principles too. Like you can study what I've studied, you know, like you said, you can do all this, but really it comes down to doing the work. And
which you need, it's good to get the information because you need the information in order to know what to practice.
Yeah.
But you still have to practice. Like the information is not going to grant you everything. It's the actual, and that's why I say to so many of my clients and so many of my students, I'm like, it is the little things. And I try my best to say that on my stories and like any time I'm like, guys, it is literally. And that's also why I, every single day I post my spiritual maintenance that I do every single morning. I don't give a shit if you're bored and sick of seeing me walking or seeing me. I don't care. That what I'm trying to instill is that it's all of these tiny little things that I do every single day that brings me to where I am. And it's not this, I'm not like some high vibe, you know, I'm all like I'm high vibing and I'm also like can be really shitty because I'm a human and I have wounds and I got shit I got to work through, you know? So it's like, I'm everything. And as you integrate that, as those fragmented parts that you've rejected about yourself, you bring them back into you. That's whenever you can become more accepting of the all inclusiveness of this experience. Like it just all is, like it just is, and that's okay. And then that's that also that balance between that masculine and that feminine, like that logic and that flow. Yeah, I just think, and I do think that like Abraham Hicks does touch on it a little bit whenever like her 5 steps, you know, her 5th step is that you appreciate the contrast. And that's her way of saying you appreciate not just the high vibe, you appreciate, you know, the low vibe and everything in between. And so, but I think that the problem is that like a lot of people really get stumped on that. Like they don't understand what she means. And I like, there's part of me that wants to be like, Abraham, just say it a different way. Yeah. But she's like really stuck on saying it that way. And that's okay. That's how she wants to teach it.
Yeah.
But I think that if people like, it would be more understandable if it was like, no, embrace all of it. not even just the contrast, all of it. Just embrace all of it. And also like we have to walk in surrender. Like we are part of a collective. We are part of a bigger divine plan. And if you think that you are more powerful than this divine plan, then believe me, the divine will put you in your place.
Yes, it really will. Like,
like you'll be manifesting like a motherfucker, and then all of a sudden it'll be like skirt and like pull the fucking rug out from you, and you'll be like, oh my God, I'm not so powerful.
Or it will keep giving you all the shit you think you want. And then once you have all that, you're like, oh, fuck. God, like,
still not fulfilled.
I did it again. I literally did it again. Here I am. But it's really humbling to do that. But
it's just learning.
It's just learning. And something I've observed is with focusing on vibration so much, we can sometimes get stuck in shame.
Big
like that
time.
is because...
Or guilt, that I'm not in that place. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And there's so many layers to reality, to our highest timeline. And when we first come into this world, like where we are right now, we have to collapse so many different timelines, depending on who you are, to get to your highest timeline. And so much shit is going to happen. And just because of that beautiful thing, free will, is I've seen how we can take these like beautiful spiritual concepps, but then we can't, we just twist it. And so we actually end up getting stuck in these emotions. And then we end up missing like the beauty of it all, because we all have our purpose here. We all have a mission to fulfill, and we can go to the Akashic records and, it will tell us, it'll give us clues. We can see in it, but it's that like, it would be great, but it doesn't show us all the shitty things that are going to happen to us. Yep. And, if something horrible happens to you, just remember that you did not attract that,
Right.
Granted, it is a learning experience for you to heal. You did not attract that. If you were having a bad day, like in your head, really upset, you did not attract. If someone hurt you, you did not attract that,
So let's explain that a little bit, because there's part of me that does resonate with that, and there's part of me that doesn't I'm just such a radical responsibility person. Like I take radical responsibility for everything that exists in my life, but I also know, like we were talking about earlier, there's a balance to that.
Yeah.
There's a balance to that. There is also a flip coin that I'm part of a collective, and that I'm also the divine has, things like I'm put in places that I don't even understand. And then 2 or 3 years later, I'm like, oh, that's exactly why I needed to be there. It wasn't even about me. It was for this person or whatever it may be. But the reason why I want to talk about it is because I know that I'm super radically responsible every single thing that I do. So I'm sure there's listeners that are like hearing this and they're like, wait a minute, what? What? How am I not attracting everything?
It's like you said, it's a beautiful balance, There's this beautiful thing called free will that we are all born with. And with free will, there's also this beautiful thing called the human ego. And so this is all just things that my counsel, my guides have been like, wait, let's look at this, And it's helped me work through some really personal traumatic things. And because within those traumatic things, I will take responsibility for anything, I really will. It's just, I have great integrity. I want everyone else to have great integrity and be super responsible. But we are in the position we are in humanity because of the human ego,
Mm-hmm.
So like war, poverty, other humans hurting other humans, that isn't our destiny. That just is the creation of that great thing we were born with, and it just ran wild. And so with that, things do happen as we are being led on to these things, but then someone or something can just swoop in, and make us.
Because they have free will.
Because they have free. We have to remember, like, it's not just us. That other person has free will too.
Right.
So they can come in and something can happen to us. And at that moment where the beautiful balance is, we're on our way. But just because they swooped in does not mean, to me, from what I've seen, and this is how I right now know how to articulate, is that we did not attract that. There's literally, we are never being asked to be harmed, it doesn't matter just if you are such in deep depression, we are never being asked to be harmed, for that's the best way I can put it. We are just not asking for some things to happen, and everything happens for us.
You can always gather something from it.
Yeah, exactly.
Always, yeah.
Anything that does happen, we can turn that into a healing, growing experience, So there are some things in my childhood, and I actually had a hard time letting actually putting the blame onto others when it was due, not just pointing the fingers, everything else is someone else's fault, but just on being honest, just being like, no, I honestly had nothing to do with that. It was this other person and their divine free will. I was just here in this spot where I was, and it just happened, because at the end of the day, there's always choice. There's always choice. And we forget that because we're so busy on the hustle and bustle. And to get to that moment of, oh shit, we have a choice, we have to get to stillness. And stillness is it's such a foreign thing to humans, especially in the Western world, we can hardly sit for I remember when I first started meditating, it literally drove me nuts just sitting still for 2 minutes without having my phone or thinking about, what am I going to do when I get done with this? Why am I doing this? It just drove me nuts. But to really grasp that is just to really come to stillness. And within that stillness, you realize just, oh shit, there's so much we can choose from. There's so many timelines we can to choose to act from right now. And the more we go into stillness, the more we meditate, the more, you do your work really. Sometimes your work isn't meditating. I will preach about meditation all day long because I love it so much. It is so good for us. But sometimes we are not led to meditate, Sometimes it's counterintuitive to meditate. But
sometimes people use it to escape too.
Yes. I've been there too.
Yeah. I have. Yeah. I'm no, I don't want to deal with my own shit.
I've got a full schedule. Yeah. I'm going to actually just go, it sounds really just, I feel like it would be within my spiritual authority. Just go meditate. It's so, we're so funny as humans. We can literally take something and
that's gold.
So gold, so good. And just
manipulate it
and let our ego romanticize even spiritual concepts to keep on with our toxic ways. They're I love it because I've been guilty of this too, especially in relationships when you just need to let that person go, and then you're but no, I feel like a twin flame or this is my karmic, so we got to work something out. But really your guides are oh. And it was
it's so true though.
Oh man.
And just the language, the language of spiritual truths can be twisted so easily.
Yeah.
I experienced this whenever I was with I don't want to state any names, but what I'm talking about. Last year, and it was just I just didn't realize how much one sentence, one simple spiritual truth can be so twisted and tainted into something entirely differently. And it's actually called, when I was doing research, it's actually called people that actually do that are narcissists that use spiritual truth specifically are called, they're their own category of spiritual narcissists. Yes. There's actual research, there's books. And I learned that helped me a lot to move through that situation because I was but there was so much spiritual truth. He was so wise, And it's no, actually he just twisted everything to manipulate you and your precious little mind, So you really, and I'm not trying to scare anybody, just so you guys know, I'm not trying to scare you, but there are, people out there that do, and not even other people that we might listen to, but also our own ego, our own human self will say, oh, well, it's this thing, and then totally twist it and manipulate it. Our ego will tell us that it's this spiritual truth, but actually we're, twisting ourselves and manipulating ourselves. And eventually the truth is shown. Like, love always wins. Eventually you will see, the truth of the situation, even if it takes some time. But it happens. It does happen. Like, it's just a reality of the path. So yeah, I'm not trying to scare anybody.
No,
but it's just something to be aware of.
Yeah, like reality is there's just so much.
It's so complex.
Yeah, it's so complex, so much in there. Like when we step out of the box of society and really step into our journey, like we're like, oh, what the fuck? There's just so much. Like I'm so grateful that I took a college psychology class in high school because that honestly,
I know. My psychology, I think about it all the time. I'm like, oh, I'm so glad I took that class.
Because not only did it like help me start healing myself then, because back in high school, I was super depressed. I was trying to get out of being bulimic, and I was bulimic for 7 years. And, so super depressed, no self-esteem, just super like high anxiety. Like I wished I could like explain to you how bad my anxiety was, but like just like completely just down in the dumps, in high school. And I was just like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I didn't have a great support system, but I took that class and, and also, of course, I had all these, things happening. Like I've been super sensitive since I was younger, but I grew up I went from chaotic household with my mom where she's just partying, doing whatever. And then I go with my religious grandparents. And if I told them, hey, your great aunt's in the closet right now, just staring at me every night and I can't sleep, they're going to be like, Kirsten, like,
are you losing your mind?
Like, just be like, girl, like, no, you're watching too much TV or something. Like, so I just wasn't able to thrive. But my psychology class, I swear, it like helped me so much to like realize like the inner workings of our mind. And in it, like that was the first time I ever really heard of and delved into the ego, what the human ego is. And then from there, it honestly made my spiritual journey so much easier because psychology and our spiritual journey, it all goes hand in hand. You know?
Yes.
Like none of this is separate. The spiritual material world, so like science, healthcare, all of that, it's all intertwined within the spiritual world. Like we are here to blend that together because then that's where, that utopia we all desire, and have seen because we know it's possible from being from other planets, That's how we bring it forth.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm curious, if you wouldn't mind sharing with us, like, what do you do in manifesting, like right now? Like, what are your steps, or like what, if you were to recommend, like how would one go about manifesting? If right now they just visualize, if they just sit around and visualize, and then they're listening to this and they're like, oh shit, wait, there's more to this. What else do I need to do?
So right now I'm actually, manifesting a lot for my business, so I've completely stepped away from my business for a minute, shut down my website. I'm not taking any clients, all time for me. So right now I'm still downloading and getting intuitive guidance on what to bring forth. And part of this is actually, which goes hand in hand with you, actually teach, is I am bringing forth financial abundance for myself. And so with that, my typical first step whenever I know I want to manifest something is I actually sit down and I take time alone by myself, and I get pen and paper and I just write. I just let it all come out. And then within that, I write, so with financial abundance, for me, I had to really look at what is blocking me. What do I know and what do I not know, So I tap into my heart space and I just let that all come out. And so from that, once I write down what I know is blocking me, what I know I need to let go of, what patterns, what people, what traumas, instances, I just need to work through, that's really hindering me. It's really, for me personally, it's a self-worth thing, really just understanding that I am worthy of this. I am so worthy of having this. So that's a whole nother thing. And so I start there. And then typically, sometimes even during it, I'm very clairvoyant. So I'll get visions. I'll slip into a meditative state. You know, I'll go to the astral plane. I'll just let whatever comes through and what happens. And to get to that state, you know, I have been working on tapping into my abilities for about 6-7 years now. So this is a process, you know, when you were finished, I was going to say, and you can also hire someone to help you. Yes, you definitely can. And I'm just speaking for myself, but yes, finding someone to help you, because for me, I honestly was alone and that's part of a lot of my doing, but I was alone for a lot of the beginning part of my journey. So a lot of these things I figured out on myself, you know, and but it's okay to ask for help. That was the thing. I just didn't want to ask for help. Right. Or didn't know how to. So I really highly recommend, please find someone that totally resonates with you. Like intuitively, you're just like, yes, please work, because it will make things so much smoother. Like even if it's just like someone for you to babble to, just be like, vent to, just it has nothing to do. Even that first step, like you said, they can write it all down, but they might not be able to identify what their blocks are. So that was as soon as you said that, I was like, well, that's definitely something that someone might need assistance with to help hire. And then same thing with connecting to those visual states, like pulling through those visions. They might need someone to connect them to the higher realms, to be that in between. You know how they say a priestess is someone that stands so close to the gods that they bring it, you know, here to earth. So they might need someone in between to help them bring those things through and see what's in their, you know, what is in their future for them, what is unfolding, what are they aiming towards, what are those things. So it's okay to get help. It's okay to get help. You don't have to do all this your own. And even, like I said, I've been doing this for about 6 or 7 years, but I still have a support system. Like Brittany here, I can come and talk to. I have mentors, guides, friends. In the mystery school, I have a couple of guides, you know, who pull me off the ledge and are like, no, you're not crazy. You know, you're totally everything's sane. You're cool. These are visions. Go for it, you know? And they honestly really put my ego in check. And so... And I think just to talk on that, I think that's a big reason why it's almost important to hire, or, you know, to get help outside of yourself, because you can't see your own ego. Your ego will stop you, but you can't see it. And that's why, in the coaching world, they talk so much about how important having a coach is because they're like, you can't see your own ego. I'm reflecting back to you the places where you are limiting yourself, the places that you are doubting yourself, the places you're not able to see that you are actually your own block. Yes. It's hard to see that though, unless you have someone outside of you that's like, why do you keep repeating this? And there were times where I would try to do all of that by myself, to really try to do all. So I would get to, so I would pinpoint this is this pattern, You know, I could do that by myself, but still couldn't make that shift. But as soon as I communicated with someone, literally communicate with that's where the shift came. And then I was just like, you know, at that time I was like, no, I just want to do it myself. Me in relationships it's a whole nother thing for me to work on. It really was, but it made me realize that community in this process is so important, because we need those reflections. Right. We actually need to communicate with each other. It's almost like Spirit's way of being like, hey, everyone needs everybody here. You can't actually do this alone. So you need, you know, we are mirror reflections of each other, and we literally need each other in order to progress. Exactly. Especially since you will go through a dark night. Yes. You will absolutely go through a dark night. You can't skip it. Yeah. You can't avoid it. You can't skip it. Thank you, dude. High fucking five on that one. Literally can, it does not matter. People try to avoid it, dude. You we can feel when it's coming too. I swear, I bet some listeners are now just damn, you know, just you can feel this buildup of just I don't know how. It's from what my understanding is that it's when your beliefs, what you've learned, is not actually in alignment with what you're still operating on, what your ego is still doing. And in your mind, you get it. There's this new understanding and this new way,
but your ego is pulling you to still operate in this same old way. So it's like your program is going like, because you're like being pulled this way, but you're like, but I know this way. And then you're like, and so then the ego or, the free will or whatever you want to label it is like dying and withering away, and you're moving into the new state. And that's the dark night, because it's like, it doesn't know where it's going. It just understands it in the mind, but it doesn't know where it's actually going. So it's like, wait a minute. We got to survive. Where are we going? I don't know where we're going. It's dark over there. And so the ego is trying to protect you. You know, it's trying to do its job, but it has to be, transcended. That aspect has to be transcended in order to move to the next timeline. And any time, basically, it doesn't matter if it has to do with finances or any kind of anything that you are moving into the higher timeline of, that you're progressing on, you go through that part. You go through that stage of, I keep doing the same thing, even though I'm over here mentally, the ego keeps pulling me over here.
That's actually another step of my manifestation process, actually. I like to say I have an ego death every day at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. Literally. Like, I literally say every day for me is an acid trip, and my ego death, I peak ego death at noon. And, but that's a part of it, because once so I did that process, I got all that information, I did a lot of introspection. Now I'm like, okay, so now you actually have to do the work. You so within that, you pinpoint it and you're like, okay. And usually you get guidance of what you actually need to do now. Like, what do you need to swap out into your life,
Right.
And that's the fun part. And,
Yeah, it's so fun, Sisi.
Because, like, discipline's a bitch. Yeah. But that's a whole part of it. You have to develop discipline to
it's like trusting that soul. Like, the ego is flipping out and is like, what? But the soul is like, just trust me. Just keep stepping steps. Just keep going this direction. Yes. I promise. Just follow me. I promise. And the ego's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah. So, like, honestly, I don't want to say, because we can never completely kill the ego. The goal should be never to try to kill your ego. It's just being like, I don't know. It's balance. It's balance. Yeah. Just being like, here, ego, we're putting you out there. It's not so bad. Like, you can breathe. And, eventually your ego is going to breathe a little bit easier as you keep progressing. And so that's actually a huge step of manifesting for me, is doing the work, is making my ego uncomfortable, going through like a miniature dark night of the soul. Yep. And so once I work through all of that, and within working through all of that, actually, I'm getting little pieces of that manifestation. I'm getting manifesting.
You are explaining this so good.
Manifesting is like, you have this broad idea, but then to get there, you have to do the little itty bitty steps. And being human, we don't like that, especially in like this.
We just want the big bang.
Yeah, like, we live in such an instant gratification like type of society, but that's
not real.
You're not getting shit with that. Yeah. Like, you're literally not getting anything with that.
And this is like how Abraham explains it. Just so if there are Abraham listeners on here trying to put what we're saying in with what she's saying, is that what she repeats consistently is that it feels like the next logical step. Like, people want to go from here all the way to, I make 6 figures a year. I go from unemployment to 6 figures a year all in the same year. No, it's a process. And so it has to feel like the next logical step. The only next logical step after doing all this work, after going through a dark night, after doing all these things, would be that this manifestation arises. So it's got to be the next logical step. Like, that's how she says it. And it's the same thing that we're saying, just in a different way.
Yeah. And then there's always the kicker. Sometimes you go through all of that and universe is like, nah, that ain't for you. Like, no, we're not giving you this. No, this isn't on your highest timeline. Right. But we're really proud of you for going through all of that. Think bigger now, And then you get to sit there and babble to yourself from what it looks like to other people. Slightly cursing, but
because you are being, I don't want to say managed by the divine, but you are you are at the surrender of the divine plan. So your ego might think that, like, let's say the 6 figures, it might think that making 6 figures is what you're manifesting and what you desire. But really what you truly desire is freedom and to just be at ease and to be able to have everything that you need. And so, like you said, the divine might be like, oh yeah, you thought that's what you're getting, but actually you're going to get this, this, and this. And it's going to put you in a very similar state, but it's not going to be what you thought it was.
Yeah. And so with manifesting, you also have to make sure you're open to change, open to being really flexible, like just in life in general. But with manifesting, you have to be flexible because it's just like working with a coach. You know, you come to them with an idea and they're like, okay, cool. Let's tweak that a little bit, you know, let's tweak it just a little bit. And then that's what, you know,
the universe is doing to your manifestation.
Exactly. And through working through that's the only way you're going to get there. And, see those things is if you do those itty bitty tiny steps. And it can be something so like minimal as in like making your bed in the morning. That's going to get you to those 6 figures, you know?
Absolutely.
Or tweaking or spending like 3 hours to yourself in the morning. Just completely doing you. No work. Absolutely no work. Not even thinking about
my
work.
life right now.
Just do you.
I was like, make my bed. I love making my bed every morning. 3 hours to me every single day.
But it's so important. Just like the little itty bitty steps is where we're going to bring in that's where manifestation happens.
Yep, absolutely.
So that's why sitting and visualizing is not going to do it for you.
Or affirmations, like affirming things that you don't even believe are true. And then you're affirming, I don't believe that this is real for me. I don't believe this is real for me. I don't believe this is real for me. It's really detrimental to people's growth, honestly.
It really is. It's like, I bet everyone listening has, or if you haven't, like try it. Say something that you really believe, you know, you can, and like feel, after you say it, feel how you like feel after that. Feel that confidence. Feel that just like, you know, you're solid footing when you say that, you know, like you feel so good, so light and bright. Now, say something that just say an affirmation to like, I am going to manifest this, you know, say it and then
see how you feel about
it. See how you feel. Like, do you really believe that?
Right.
Like, it's completely different. So those itty bitty pieces of work that you do are actually the work that's so you can say that affirmation with that confidence that it's
the next
needed.
logical step. Yeah. You have to work your way there. Yeah.
It's not just a boop, boop, boop. Like, we can't do that. It's not what we're here for. If so, life would be so boring.
I know. That would be like so, like, I mean, it was hard for me to accept at first whenever I learned it myself the hard way. But I was like, actually, it would be so boring. And that's where Abraham talks about, like, you have to enjoy the process because it would be so, if you just went from there to there, like, well, what the hell? Like, what would we actually be doing? Like, no, it's all of it. All of the steps in between, every little part of it, all the little things, like it's all part of it. And you have to just embrace and enjoy it all. I mean, it gets to a point almost that when the manifestation comes, you're like, well, yeah. Like, well, yeah. I mean, it's like kind of like a duh moment because you've done every single little bitty thing up and you've enjoyed it all. So it's just, it appears and you're like, well,
and you can appreciate it a lot more too because, and also like for me, doing those little steps made me just appreciate the like majesty of like every present moment and like being present within it all and being such an observer to like everything, you know, and just being able to do that. It's taken work. Everyone starts, you know, at a beginning point. It's totally cool. And sometimes I even slip back to that beginning point, but just to know that I have that perception and going through that, I don't know, it brings me such content to life. Like it brings me such peace, you know? And I just remember being younger, I was not happy. I was like, this cannot be it. I was just like, I am not going to go to school. I'm not going to go to college and be happy then getting a job. I was like, this is the most boring shit I've ever heard in my life. Yeah, I'm going to travel a little bit. Okay, cool. But I still have to come back and do that. I was like, I went to this, I was just like totally Scorpio, you know, I'm just like, who am I living for? Who's trying to tell me what to do? You know what I mean? Like stinger ready. Like, it's like, someone's going to get it. But no, it's just like really like my soul was just yearning for me to like stop and to sit and really start appreciating the little things that I was achieving, that the little itty bitty gifts. And like with manifesting, when you are doing the work, Spirit's going to give you little gifts. You're going to get puzzle pieces. You know, it's just one big puzzle. You're going to get those beautiful little tiny fucking puzzle pieces. And sometimes those tiny puzzle pieces are huge. So just imagine that, like, would that excite, like, I get so freaking excited. Like, when you ask, so I'm taking off of, I said I took off of from my business. But through reading cards and stuff, Spirit's been like, just be open to any opportunity that's coming. New opportunities are coming. So when you asked me to do this podcast, I was just like, new opportunity. Yes, this is a gift. Like, you know, this is going to be.
Here it is. What you've been talking about.
It's amazing. So like little things like that, like you learn to be really excited about, and you just really.
It all becomes a gift. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I loved that puzzle, like that you were just talking about a puzzle, because it's almost in the sense of like, of, you know, opening a puzzle and then putting it all together in one day. Like, how fucking lame would that be? How boring would that? How much more fun is it to start the edge and then come sit back at the table the next day and then you pop another piece in and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I got that one to fit. And then say, like, to me, I guess maybe that's my perception, but to me, that's way more fun, because then when the whole puzzle is completed, you're like, oh my God, this whole journey of putting this puzzle together, you know, it's beautiful. All those little pieces, instead of just, I thought this one day and then it appears in my reality the next day. Like, I just manifested it instantly. Like, I enjoy instant manifestations, and they happen.
That is nice. You know? It is very, very nice.
They're fun.
But that comes with doing the work too.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. We're going to keep throwing that in there. The work is so...
Just to be clear, the
work is so important. And man, releasing instant gratification, especially growing up in the Western world.
Yeah. It's what we were taught.
It is a fucking thing. I didn't realize just how deeply ingrained it is into our psyche until I really had to stare at it and be like, you are really the one bringing, you know, making me miserable. Like, I am not enjoying anything. I'm not enjoying relationships. I'm not enjoying sex. I'm not enjoying just doing normal things. I'm not enjoying going out. I'm not enjoying smoking weed. Wow, weed. I'm not there. But yeah, just doing all these things. I just wasn't enjoying it.
It made me think of today, because it was snowing. And I mean, I kid you not, on my walk this morning, I was like a fairy in a fucking magical land. Like, I was like, every little snowflake was like, I was like a bug to a light. I'm like, oh my God, it's so beautiful. And there is definitely a version of me, before I would put in the work, that was just like, oh shit, it's snowing, you know? And then like, might not even walked outside. Or maybe if I did, I wasn't like it was almost like I was tripping, you know? Like when those bug eyes that you get whenever you're on acid or mushrooms and you're just like, oh my God, everything's so beautiful. But really, like, I am more than entertained by just walking around the forest in the snow. And I don't need, like, to me, that I don't need a bunch of, like, that's all I really need. Like, I don't need a bunch of stuff. I don't need a lot. Like, I really don't need, this is it for me. This is it. I fucking made it, man.
Yes. It is such a relief. Like, it's such a relief and a beautiful, like, feeling whenever you, like, know that you have done, you know, you've taken the steps to get yourself out of the social rat race.
Chasing.
The whole chasing. I gotta get this to be successful. You know, I gotta do all these things. It's like, no, I literally just have to be.
I am.
I have achieved so much. There was a whole year where I literally just stayed home. And like, granted, I live where I live. I can go outside in the woods and everything, you know, but didn't talk to anyone, didn't go out. Any of that, I literally just stayed home, and just through that, I was like, whoa, you know, I got to learn how to appreciate those little things. And like, from that, honestly, that's where I started being like, man, every day is an acid trip, you know, just like every moment, like.
And I know it sounds corny, but it really is. Like, the best things in life are free. Like, especially after like really honing in and anchoring into like my abundance and my financial freedom. I'm like, I don't even like, I work so hard to like free myself from this, but it really wasn't even like the things that I really and truly enjoy now are completely free.
Exactly.
Like, now that I freed myself of chasing that, I'm like, well, actually, I really like all these things that don't even cost any fucking money.
Yes, it's
just a mind game. You think that you need this and this and this and this and this and this and this, but really, as cheesy as it fucking sounds, really the absolute best things in life are truly free. They really are. It's where spirit is.
It really
it's way
is.
better than anything in this world.
It truly, really is. And just the community aspect of it, which is growing now, you know, we're all here to help each other. So it's just like, I'm really learning that, like, even the things that, like, it's ingrained to us that we have to provide for ourselves. On my journey, there's sometimes I literally had nothing, but then someone would show up with some food. Or someone would, take me out to a concert or a festival. I didn't have to pay for it or anything. And
always provided for.
Always provided for.
And that's the thing, is that God comes in so many forms, in so many ways. And whenever you, like we were saying earlier, ask for help, when you actually open yourself to that help, God will show up in so many ways.
And that's a step in manifesting too, is literally there have been moments where I have gotten on my knees and being like, this is what I want. This is exactly what I want, but it doesn't have to be that. You can just be sitting there like writing too, but like you can do all of that, but you can do your work too, but there has to be that intention to be open, to surrender to what spirit, what that, prevailing energy, whatever you call it, is pulling you to do. Right. Whatever your intuition is pulling you to do, there has to be that surrender to it. You can't, to really manifest the logical mind, you gotta kind of have to shove it behind, because if
that's exactly what I'm talking about in my course right now. I'm like, the ego is gonna throw a fucking fit. Like, it's gonna freak the fuck out, because that logical mind, that control-y, wanting to manage everything and being able, you really have, it's like, it's so dowdy. It's so limited. When you surrender to spirit, it's so broad. It's so spacious. There's so much more space for so much more than this like honed in control-y. It almost can get a little manipulative, trying to manipulate situations to get your manifestation, when it's like, no, there's so much more spaciousness in allowing spirit to guide, in allowing spirit to take the wheel, and you actually step back.
Yes. So like, I have honestly made more money by not doing a damn thing sometimes. By sometimes spirit will be like, just go outside. Like, go take a day, go hang out with a friend and be cool. The next thing I know, I have 3 or 4 clients. I have people wanting custom jewelry made. I have someone wanting readings, or Reiki or whatever. And
I would say in my experience, that happens more than when I'm doing a bunch of work. Like, whenever I'm at ease, whenever I'm in grace, whenever I'm taking care of myself and I'm just feeling open and free, that's whenever it pours in, rather than the control-y and the goals and the chase and the da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I'm not saying that it's a balance, like we were talking about earlier, it's a balance between the two. But I just think that we're so far away from the ease and the grace and the spaciousness that you almost have to come all the way this way to know what that is, so that way you can come back in the middle balance. Because we've been all the way over here for the hustle, grind, chase, goals, setting, and I'm not, it's part of it. But you have to almost come all the way over here, and then that way where that little sweet spot is in the middle for you.
That's why, like, pretty much balance is where it's at. It's literally, everything is just a beautiful balance. And
I think, we're kind of like wrapping up here to the end. So it's like, it's really perfect to end on like, just the overall, guys, balance is where it's at.
It's literally like, even if you don't dive deep, like, I encourage everyone listening to just Google the 8 Hermetic principles and just, read through it and take what you take from it, because even if I did have it on top of my head and we just sat here and went through them each, like, maybe that wouldn't even touch anyone, you know what I mean? Because honestly, whenever I first got introduced to it, right over my head, right over my freaking head. So I had to break it down more. And the more I broke it down, more I worked through some stuff, yada, yada. Like now I'm in a place where I'm like, I get it now. I'm gaining the language, I have the understanding now. So I encourage everyone to just check it out, because we were at one place, but now we're coming into a different place. Mm-hmm. We are evolving so rapidly, and this is open to everyone. You can be from any religion, any background, but you can look at these principles, and be like, take something from it and apply it to your life. You know, mm-hmm. It's such a beautiful thing. And
I know it was a game changer for me. That's for sure. Big time. I was like,
there's actually a beautiful YouTube video on it. Actually, if you type in Hermetic principles versus law of attraction, mm-hmm. It will go into it. This pretty much, it'll reiterate what we talked about, but it goes through each one. Like, and
I'll just say to any of the listeners, if you want that specific video, that's the one that really opened my mind. Just message me. Just my contact information is below in the show notes. And just shoot me a message on one of my social media accounts or an email, and I will totally get you that video. Cause it really, it changed. She broke it down perfectly.
Yes.
And she just nailed it. She just nailed it. And it really, like, there was just some things that I was really still stuck on. And I was like, oh, that's why. Because of that. Well, that makes sense now.
It really just broadens our scope. And we have to keep broadening our perspective. Exactly. And honestly, I had a feeling we were going to talk about all this, just because when we got together, we were talking about it a little bit. Then I went home and I just that whole download came in, and I was just like, I really don't know if it's a good idea for me to put that out there. Just what we were talking about, like how free will, just sometimes not everything is predetermined. And so I was just like, I don't know, but here we are talking about it.
It's good. It's good stuff. Good. It's divine. Well, thank you so much. I'm so glad to have you on here today.
Thank you for having me. This was amazing.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I hope that you guys enjoyed. If you guys want to catch up with Sisi, I'm going to drop her Instagram link below. Is that cool?
Yes.
Okay. And obviously, if you want that video or any additional information, feel free to message me or email me. That will be below in the show notes as well. And thank you guys so much for joining us today. I love each of you so massively. Have a beautiful rest of your week.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you enjoyed that episode. Please subscribe, leave a review, and if this was impactful for you at all, please share it with others. This is how we can help each other. Much love and namaste.